Explaining the Second Congo War. Following genocides in both Rwanda and Burundi, many Hutus and Tutsis fled to the neighboring country of Zaire, at the time ruled by Mobutu. Both the Tutsis and the Hutus would have small clashes within Zaire, and so the new president of Rwanda, Kagame, would send troops into Zaire to protect the Tutsis. The Rwandans would help the Tutsis form a rebel group known as the AFDL, along with the help of Ugandan president at the time, Museveni. Together with the Ugandans, the AFDL moved west into Zaire, while the Angolans under President Dos Santos would move north. With the capture of Zaire's capital imminent, Mobutu would flee in 1997, allowing Laurent Desire Kabila to take power. Kabila would rename the country from Zaire to the Democratic Republic of the Congo. Despite the fact that Mobutu is gone, the Rwandans still kept troops within the DRC's capital, making some people think that Kabila was a Rwandan puppet. Because of this, in 1998, Kabila would try to establish his dominance over the Rwandans by demanding that the Rwandans leave the capital. However, the Rwandans would expect this, and along with the Ugandans would plan for a new invasion. Together with the Ugandans, the Rwandans would begin funding a rebel group known as the Rally for Congolese Democracy. In August of 1998, they would fly troops over to Katona in the west, and would quickly capture port cities such as Matadi. The capital of the DRC, Kinshasa, was thrown into chaos, and because of it, many Tutsis were killed because of suspicion of them being part of the rebel groups. However, countries such as Namibia, Zimbabwe, and Angola would send their aid to the DRC, and the port cities would be retaken. Now cut off from the ocean, the Rally for Congolese Democracy, or the RCD, would attempt to capture Kinshasa, however this would fail. Due to this, the Rwandan troops would flee to Makwela Zombo in Angola, and would capture the airport. For multiple months they would fight, and in December they would finally be airlifted out. Meanwhile, in the east, the Rwandans, along with the RCD, had been gaining a lot of territory. On the other hand, the Ugandans had created a new rebel group known as the Movement for the Liberation of the Congo, or the MLC. The Ugandans, along with the MLC, began to take land in the north. Throughout late 1998 and early 1999, these rebels, along with foreign troops, began raiding villages and killing the inhabitants. However, in April of 1999, the leader of the RCD, Ernest Wamba Dia Wamba, would move the base of the RCD from Rwandan-controlled territory to Uganda-controlled territory, causing a split in the RCD. This would drive Rwanda and Uganda further apart, and later that month, Museveni would sign for peace with Kabila. The following month, Wamba would be ousted as the leader of the RCD. Meanwhile, the leaders in the new base of operations for the RCD would form a new group known as the Forces for Renewal and would fight their old allies. To further complicate things, the Ugandans would create a new province in the north known as Ituri, which would start an ethnic war between the inhabitants. With all sides in a stalemate, they would agree to sign the Lusaka ceasefire agreement in July of 1999. Despite this, the fighting within the country would still continue. For example, the Rwandans and the Ugandans would clash in Kisangani in July, and in November, the Rwandan-backed rebels would attempt to make a push towards the capital, however this would be pushed back. In early 2000, the United Nations would send in troops to implement the ceasefire, however, this would not work, and all foreign troops would be accused of exploiting the Congo's resources. In the summer of 2000, Kabila would attempt to launch his own offensive, however, they would be pushed back by the Ugandan-backed MLC. However, in early 2001, Kabila would be shot dead by his own bodyguard. Kabila's son, Joseph Kabila, would become the new president, and he was more diplomatic than his father, and so he would agree to have peace talks with the Rwandans. However, the Rwandans' position in the war began to deteriorate as, in 2002, many of their Tutsi allies began to mutiny against them. Plus, many in the RCD agreed to join the new president's forces. Finally, in April of 2002, both the Congolese and the Rwandans would meet in South Africa to discuss the terms for peace. The Rwandans agreed to withdraw their 20,000 troops from the DRC, and the DRC agreed to help the Rwandans dismantled the Hutu militias still in Rwandan territory. Throughout 2002, the different factions would agree to become part of a new transitional government. However, fighting would still continue in places such as Ituri. Plus, the formerly Ugandan-backed MLC would commit genocide against the Pygmy people in the DRC during the Effacer le Tableau operation. The transitional government could do little but watch as the rebels killed thousands, and elections weren't even held until 2006, at which point Joseph Kabila was elected. In conclusion, the Second Congo War is a very complicated war of many factions and different countries fighting against the DRC and themselves, and it ended up in the deaths of 5.4 million people by the end of it. Thank you for watching this video on the Second Congo War.